Okay, so get this right. One of the things you asked us to deep dive into today is instructions for how this very deep dive should end.
Hmm.
Talk about meta, huh?
Yeah, it's like it really highlights how often we agree to terms and conditions without even realizing.
Exactly, especially with technology. Speaking of, our main source today is Microsoft's privacy statement,
Right.
the August 2024 update.
Mm.
We're talking potentially a lot of small print here.
Yeah, and it's not just some random tech company.
Mhm.
This is the software that's on, I don't know how many work computers, Xboxes, even those free games that kids play these days.
Oh, totally.
Not to mention LinkedIn. Microsoft is everywhere.
Everywhere. Okay, so let's get into it. First thing that jumps out, just how much information they're collecting.
Yeah.
And it's not just, oh, they know what I wrote in this email. It goes way deeper.
It's the combining of the data, the aggregation, that's really powerful. So think about it on its own, a single data point. Might not seem like much.
Right.
But when you start putting together your browsing history with, say, purchase data from LinkedIn, maybe what you play on Xbox even, Microsoft can build a scarily accurate picture of you,
Yeah.
your habits, what you like, even how you might act in the future.
Like they've got this digital detective following your every click and pause online. For example, they track interactions, use, and experiences across all their products. That's a lot.
Yeah, and we haven't even gotten to the invisible data,
What's that?
like error reports or even how long you hesitate before clicking something. Those tiny actions can actually reveal a lot about your behavior,
Oh, interesting.
All that gets fed into algorithms.
And we know Microsoft is really pushing into AI now with things like Copilot.
That's right.
Are they using our data to train those systems?
Oh, absolutely.
Ah.
AI needs tons of data to learn, and this kind of data is super valuable for that. The statement does mention AI, but it kind of hides that a little.
Okay.
Your activity online isn't just shaping the products they have now. It's training the AI that will shape how you interact with technology in the future.
Wow. Okay, so they're gathering a ton of information. We've established that. But why? Obviously, some of it has to be to make sure your software works, right? Security updates, that kind of thing.
Yeah, those are kind of a given these days.
Mhm.
But their privacy statement, it goes beyond that.
Okay.
It talks about, like, improving and developing products.
Right, which we've touched on.
Right. And then there's personalization.
Mm.
And that word, it can be kind of loaded.
It really can. Because part of me is like, yeah, who doesn't love a personalized experience?
Right.
Like, think about how Netflix suggests shows you might like.
Right.
But with Microsoft, it's different, isn't it? It's not just movies. They're in so many parts of our digital lives.
Exactly. This isn't just about getting movie recommendations.
Yeah.
Imagine Microsoft's taking data from your work emails, your browsing history, maybe even your LinkedIn activity, and using it to, like, change how Windows looks for you
Yeah.
or decide what news stories you see first. It makes you wonder, how much control do we really have
Right.
over our online experience, I mean?
And the privacy statement, it does mention targeted advertising.
Right.
And that's where, for me, I start to get a little uncomfortable. It feels like it can go from helpful suggestions to, well, we saw you clicked on that article about sneakers, so get ready for a million shoe ads.
It's a slippery slope, for sure.
Yeah.
The line between, giving you a tailored experience and just using your data to make money, it gets blurry fast. And it all comes down to transparency, which, honestly, these privacy statements are not great at.
Speaking of, there is a whole section on how to access and control your data.
Right. They always have that.
They even talk about these tools, these opt-out pages and privacy dashboards. It almost sounds like empowering.
It sounds that way, yeah. But how many people actually go into those dashboards? They can be confusing, take forever to go through.
Totally.
And here's the kicker. Buried in the statement, there's this little line, not all data is accessible or controllable through these tools.
So they're basically saying you have control, except for all the stuff you don't.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what can we actually do about all this? I mean, do we have to become like privacy experts to just use a computer these days?
It's like they're giving us this instruction manual that's 1,000 pages long and written in a different language.
Right. Like, where do you even start?
Honestly, I think the first step is just being aware that all this is happening.
Okay.
As much as it stinks, actually reading through those privacy policies, at least skimming them, it's kind of crucial.
You're really asking me to read those things.
I know.
I scroll through those like everyone else.
I get it. But even if you just scan for certain words like data collection, sharing, advertising, it can give you a better idea of what you're agreeing to, at least.
Okay, fair enough. Knowledge is power and all that.
Exactly. And once you know, you can actually do something about it. Opt out wherever you can, limit what you share, and remember, there are other options out there. You don't have to use the same tools as everyone else.
Yeah, you don't have to like live off the grid or anything.
Right, exactly. Just be a little more careful, a little more deliberate about what you're doing online.
I like it. Which brings us back to those instructions you gave us at the beginning of this deep dive.
Hmm.
Seems like it really does come down to read the small print. That's good advice for, well, for life, isn't it? Not just for our tech.
It really is. And maybe the biggest takeaway here is this. This is no one-time thing. Technology is always changing, especially with AI becoming more common, which means how we think about data privacy has to change too, right? The question isn't just what data are they collecting, but how could they use it in the future? That's the part that I think we need to be asking.
So to everyone listening, that's something to think about. As you're scrolling, clicking, browsing, all that, remember to read the small print, stay informed, and stay in control of your data. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.